World War II was, one of the most significant and devastating conflicts in human history. Lasting from 1939 to 1945, it involved the majority of the world's nations and resulted in widespread destruction, loss of life and, a reshaping of global political power. The war was marked by major events, including the Holocaust, the use of atomic bombs, and the establishment of the United Nations. Understanding World War II involves exploring its causes, major events, global impact, and lasting consequences. The roots of World War II can be traced back to the aftermath of World War I. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, imposed heavy reparations and territorial losses on Germany. Many Germans saw the treaty as a national humiliation, and the economic hardship that followed led to political instability. In this environment, Adolf Hitler and the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party, rose to power in the early 1930s. Hitler's ideology emphasized nationalism, anti-Semitism, anti-communism, and the desire to overturn the Versailles Treaty. He envisioned a greater German empire, Lebensraum, to be achieved through military expansion. Meanwhile, other totalitarian regimes emerged in Europe and Asia. Benito Mussolini established a fascist state in Italy, while militarists in Japan pursued imperial expansion across East Asia. These aggressive powers would become the Axis powers: Germany, Italy, and Japan. World War II officially began on September 1, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. Just 2 days later, Britain and France declared war on Germany. The German military used a new method of warfare known as blitzkrieg, or lightning war, which, combined air raids, artillery and fast-moving tanks to quickly overwhelm Polish forces. In the months that followed, Germany continued its military advances. Denmark and Norway were invaded in April 1940. Then, in May, Germany attacked Belgium, the Netherlands and France. By June, Paris had fallen and France signed an armistice with Germany. Britain, under the leadership of Prime Minister Winston Churchill, stood alone against the Axis in Western Europe. The German Luftwaffe launched the Battle of Britain in mid-1940, aiming to destroy the Royal Air Force and pave the way for an invasion. British resistance and radar technology, you might say, helped defeat the German air assault, marking Hitler's first major setback. In June 1941, Hitler launched Operation Barbarossa, which was a massive invasion of the Soviet Union, breaking the non-aggression pact he had signed with Soviet leader Joseph Stalin back in 1939. This, it opened up the Eastern Front, which would become one of the bloodiest theatres of the war. Meanwhile, Japan continued its military expansion in Asia. Having already invaded Manchuria in 1931 and China in 1937, Japan now sought to dominate Southeast Asia and the Pacific. On December 7, 1941, Japanese forces attacked the United States naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. The next day, the United States declared war on Japan, and shortly after, Germany and Italy declared war on the United States. One of the darkest chapters of World War II was the Holocaust, the systematic, state-sponsored genocide carried out by Nazi Germany against Jews and other minority groups. Between 1941 and 1945, 6 million Jews were murdered in concentration camps, ghettos and mass shootings. The Nazis also targeted Romani people, disabled individuals, political dissidents, Slavic peoples and others deemed, undesirable. The Holocaust exposed the dangers of totalitarian ideology and racism, and it remains, honestly, one of the most horrific events in human history. Several key battles and campaigns marked turning points in the war. In the Pacific, the Battle of Midway in June 1942 saw the United States Navy defeat a major Japanese fleet, shifting the momentum in favor of the Allies. On the Eastern Front, the Battle of Stalingrad from 1942 to 1943 was a brutal conflict in which Soviet forces encircled and defeated a large German army. The victory halted the German advance into the Soviet Union and marked a turning point in the war. In North Africa, British and American forces defeated German and Italian troops, which, led to the Allied invasion of Italy in 1943. Mussolini's regime collapsed, and eventually Italy joined the Allies. The Western Allies prepared for a massive invasion of Western Europe. On June 6, 1944, D-Day, Allied forces landed on the beaches of Normandy, France. The successful invasion led to the liberation of France and really pushed German forces back towards their homeland. As Allied forces advanced from the west and the Soviets pushed in from the east, Germany was, quite frankly, caught in a vice. In April 1945, Soviet troops entered Berlin. On April 30th, Adolf Hitler committed suicide in his bunker. Germany unconditionally surrendered on May 7, 1945, a day later celebrated as Victory in Europe, VE Day. Despite Germany's defeat, the war continued in the Pacific. The United States military, under General Douglas MacArthur and Admiral Chester Nimitz, conducted an island-hopping campaign, capturing key islands and moving closer to Japan. In July 1945, at the Potsdam Conference, the Allies issued an ultimatum to Japan to surrender unconditionally. Japan refused, prompting the United States to use a new and devastating weapon, the atomic bomb. World War II left a profound mark on the world. Over 70 million people died, more than half of them civilians. Cities across Europe and Asia lay in ruins. The war caused massive displacement and led to the creation of millions of refugees. The conflict also, restructured global power. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as superpowers, ushering in the Cold War era. European colonial empires began to dissolve, which, led to independence movements in Africa, Asia and the Middle East. The United Nations was established in 1945 to promote peace and, hopefully, prevent future global conflicts. Efforts to bring justice to war criminals led to the Nuremberg trials, where top Nazi leaders were prosecuted for crimes against humanity. Economically, the war accelerated technological innovation and changed industrial practices. Politically, it led to the rise of international cooperation and, indeed, the division of Europe into Western and Eastern blocs. World War II taught the world many hard lessons. The dangers of totalitarian regimes, unchecked aggression, and racial hatred became undeniable. The Holocaust underscored the necessity of human rights protections and, efforts were made to enshrine those rights globally. The war also showed the importance of international alliances and the value of diplomacy. The United Nations, NATO and other organizations were created in response to the failures that had led to 2 world wars in the span of just 3 decades. World War II remains a pivotal event in modern history. Its causes were rooted in unresolved issues from World War I, economic turmoil, and the rise of authoritarian ideologies. Its consequences shaped the second half of the 20th century and, continue to influence global politics today. From the sacrifices of soldiers and civilians to the horrors of genocide and the promise of peace, World War II is a stark reminder of both the darkness and resilience of humanity. Understanding the war helps ensure that its mistakes are not repeated and that the memory of those who suffered is honored. If you found this overview meaningful, please like and subscribe to our channel to support more content like this and help keep history alive.